What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Just back in another video. Today I'm ranking my top 5 shonen manga in my collection, and my number 1 spot might surprise you. Let's get started. So for top 5 shonen manga in my collection, I'm going based on what I felt was right. I'm going based on rereadability, characters, nostalgia, and basically whether I think it's worth collecting physically or not. So starting off with my number 5 pick, that is Mashle Magic and Muscles. Now, I absolutely love Mashle Magic and Muscles. For me, it's so much fun for the simple fact of that insane action comedy. Now, me, I'm not really the type of person that normally likes comedic mangas. Normally, those really aren't my style. They're not my taste. But for whatever reason, I'm lying. Not even for whatever. I know what drew me in. And it's the fact that Mashle is basically Harry Potter in manga form. A lot of people like to say it's Harry Potter mixed with One Punch Man. In a way, I can see where they're talking about. So with Mashle, you have our main character, Mash Bernadette, and he is actually born without magic. So in this world, any child that's born without magic, they actually kill the baby because they want an all magic society. So being that he doesn't have magic, he has to basically hide himself and pretend that he is going to have magic, pretend that he has insane magical powers. Basically, he does. This entire series follows Mash Bernadette on his quest to basically go ahead and try to rewrite the history of the world, the law of the world, because once he becomes what's called a divine visionary, they get to essentially create the laws. So he wants to do that and then create the law where I'm not going to be hunted by people just because I don't got magic. But the series is so much more than that. It's so much fun. It's so wacky that it's just like at a certain point, you're just thinking, I think Mash, you do have powers, because there is no way you're doing all of this with sheer effort and sheer just working out, pumping iron. It's insane. It's very, very fun. A lot of people do think it's very mid. I don't blame them for that. That's why it's at my number 5 spot. But the reason I really enjoy Mashle is because you just turn your brain off. It's one of those series you don't gotta think too hard about. You don't really gotta worry. You just enjoy it for what it is because you know you're in here for a nice, wacky, fun time. So that's why it's at my number 5 spot. I really do love it. But I do love my 4 other on this list a little bit more. At the number 4 spot, we have Solo Leveling. So for me, Solo Leveling is an incredible just starting off point for manhwa. And if you don't know, manhwa is actually Korean based and it's normally in full color and it's normally vertical style. So what they did was they basically took it apart and then turned it into a normal book, and it's really fun, I gotta say. I'm pretty sure everyone knows what Solo Leveling is, but if you don't, somehow that you missed the hype, I got you right now. So with Solo Leveling, you follow our main character. His name is Sung Jin Woo, and he just survives a secret double dungeon. So in this world, people just awaken powers and they have a whole bunch of incredible things. Now, the thing with this world is when you awaken, whatever power you get is what you get. So if you awaken and you a D rank, I'm sorry, you a D rank. If you awaken, you an S rank, then you got lucky. It's basically hitting the lottery. So with this series, Sung Jin Woo, he survives a secret double dungeon, which gives him the ability to level up his power basically infinitely. And with that, it's so much fun because, for me anyway, Solo Leveling, the manhwa, is really almost carried by the artwork, I want to say, in a way. Don't get me wrong, the story is phenomenal, but I love how easy this is to read because there really isn't that much dialogue, and when there really is dialogue, it's important. So with this, there's tons and tons of pages where it's just they're fighting, and it's so much fun, so bright, so vibrant. If you've seen the anime, they've done a very, very good job at just adapting the manga and making the manga come to life, right? So I do highly recommend the anime. The only thing is that the anime is taking forever to release. That's why I want y'all to read the manga itself. Now, I read all this years ago when Solo Leveling was releasing weekly. Shout out to my cousin. She's the one that actually put me on. I highly recommend this. If you don't want to wait, and if you just saw the Solo Leveling anime, I'm going to let y'all know a little secret, a little slight spoiler. everything you saw in the anime, it's basically a prologue. It's literally Sung Jin Woo learning how to use his power. Now, I've seen the anime, I've seen where we're at. Now you're about to see him really use his power, really know what he's doing. Because now he's leveled up and he's comfortable. And now he's gonna go crazy. Definitely check this one out, and that's why it's on my number 4. At my number 3 spot, we have one of my all-time favorite new gen series, and that, of course, is Fire Force. The reason I say it's on my top 5 favorite shonen is because I'm not lying. This really was my favorite new gen shonen when it came out. So I originally was introduced to Fire Force through the anime when it first dropped, and this came out around the time it was like this, Dr. Stone, My Hero Academia. I think Demon Slayer is around like that era. That's when Fire Force came out. And for me, I just gravitated to Fire Force really because of the world building aspect of it. So in Fire Force, you follow our main character and he gets accepted into the Fire Force, which are special firefighters who basically fight and kill people who have spontaneously human combusted. Now in this world, no one really knows why people out of nowhere just spontaneously combust into these essentially devils or demons. No one really knows why. So that's what the Fire Force is there for. They're there to not only protect the citizens, but to also find out what's going on. Why do things like spontaneous human combustion, why is this even a phenomenon in this world? And what I really do enjoy about this is not just the world building, but it's also the power set. For me, this has one of the interesting power sets in all of manga, in a way where everyone has fire powers. That is a given in this series, obviously. It's called Fire Force, right? So everyone has fire powers, but no two people have the same type of fire powers. Normally, you would think fire powers, okay, so it's probably something like Avatar. You know, they're probably like Zuko, something like that, where they could generate the fire blast from their hands, their mouth, you know, feet, possibly fly, control, manipulate other fire. And that's true, there is people like that, but there's also a plethora of just different ways and different abilities that people use their fire. We have Shinra, who literally only can combust his own fire from his feet, period. So that's what I really enjoy about Fire Force, is the simple fact that they really go in depth with the different types of fire powers, and then just the entire world of it when it's slowly releasing and you're slowly finding out what is going on and what's causing spontaneous human combustion. So that is Fire Force, and it's at my number 3 spot. Now this is where it got a little bit hard for me, because I didn't really know where to place 1 and 2 for me personally, but I'm just like, okay, this is my top 5 favorite shonen in my collection, right? So I'm thinking what I can do. Like with these two, it was really a toss-up for me. I had to really sit down and think about it, and I had to. When you see my number 1, you understand where my mind's at. I tried to remain objective, but ultimately I really couldn't. So at my number 2 spot, I have Fullmetal Alchemist. This is objectively great. I'm pretty sure Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, the anime, was like number 1 on my anime list for, I think, like a decade at this point. Fullmetal Alchemist is just amazing. It's peak. And specifically, I do believe that the Full Metal editions of it, I think is worth collecting. If you are someone that loves hardcover manga, this is the edition that you want to get. This series, when I say it's objectively great, I'm not joking, because there's no one that I know that has read or watched Fullmetal Alchemist where they just essentially don't like it. This series is so good for so many people because it encompasses everything. There's a little bit of a lot of every like genre in Fullmetal Alchemist slightly. And the story is just so character driven. You really do like fall in love with Edward Elric and Alphonse Elric, and you really get invested in their quest because they're just young kids. They are talented and they're just trying to get their bodies back from a mistake that happened. That's all. So that was my number 2 spot, right? And now I did tell you my number 1 is going to surprise you. I'm not gonna lie, this is where nostalgia won. Number 1 is Yu-Gi-Oh! I know. Compared to the other series, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is better than Solo Leveling. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is better than Fullmetal Alchemist. Yes, in my opinion, in my collection, This is where I am not remaining objective at all. I am simply letting my nostalgia win. For the simple fact that I literally grew up on Yu-Gi-Oh! When I say I grew up on it, I was in kindergarten playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I was in kindergarten watching Yu-Gi-Oh! The original series. I grew up playing the card game. I grew up collecting the cards. Hell, I still play Master Duel to this day. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is such a big, huge part of my life that when I read the manga, I grew a different appreciation for this series that I love. So I originally only ever watched the animes. I watched Yu-Gi-Oh! I watched GX. I watched 5Ds. I watched Zexal. The manga of the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, it's so good and so much better than the anime. Because for me, even when I was little watching the anime almost felt like it had holes. It almost had like plot holes in it. Where I was like, things don't really connect to where they're supposed to. Like, there's things I can feel, there's things that's missing. And then I understand there's a manga? Wait, there's season 0? Wait, there's all this. I basically unlocked my full potential when it came to Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not even joking. This series is so good. You have no idea. If you liked Yu-Gi-Oh! If you like the original series, you have to check out the manga. The story is 10 times better. For the simple fact that from literally chapter 1 to the ending, you understand everything. Like, everything really connects extremely well. You see where each plot point connects to the next one. And I'm not lying. I told you my number 1 was probably going to surprise you, right? It surprised me when I sat down and actually was like, you know what? Let me make a top 5 of the shonen manga in my collection. What really hits home for me? And I had to say Nostalgia 1 in this aspect, because as good as Soul Leveling is, as good as the world building in Fire Force is, as good as objectively good Fullmetal Alchemist is, at the end of the day, the shonen series that just makes me happy, just makes me smile whenever I even just see it on my shelf, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's that connection that I was just like, this is my number 1 shonen. Now, it's not my favorite manga in my collection at all. Y'all know my top 3 already. And it's low-key about to be a top 5 of my favorite manga in my collection, the way these other 2 go. I'm not going to spoil it right now, but if you've been watching my channel, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. But as far as, like, shonen, Yu-Gi-Oh! Got it for me. And be with it what you will, it's my top 5. I'm not saying these, are objectively great. I'm not saying that, these are the best 5 shonen everyone got to read. Nah. I ain't saying none of that. For me and my collection, Yu-Gi-Oh! Won. But definitely let me know down below, what are your favorite shonen manga? Like, what's your number 1 shonen manga in your collection, or that you've read anyway? Let me know down in the comments below. I love to see where, different aspects win. Like, are you like me, nostalgia win? Or are you just like, nah, peak is peak, and that's okay with that. Some people gonna say One Piece. I got no problem with people saying One Piece, Bleach, Naruto. Say whatever you want, because at the end of the day, what your favorite is exactly that. It's your favorite. No one gonna tell you otherwise. There's no such thing as a wrong answer when it comes to your favorite manga series. When people try to say, nah, your favorite is wrong, I'm not gonna lie. I grew up in a time where if you said anything besides Naruto, Bleach, or One Piece, like, they was on you. I don't like that. Not for me. I like positivity. I like, whatever you like ain't gonna bother me. You know why? My favorite is my favorite, your favorite, your favorite. But that's my little egregious tangent that I went on. I'm sorry about that. I just got a little bit emotional, because I really do love this hobby, and I've really been in anime and manga community my entire life. So I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. But that's besides the point. If you have made it this far into a video, thank you guys so much for watching. You have no idea how much this means to me. Thank you for watching. If you're new here and you like my content and you like what I'm doing, consider subscribing, leaving a like, hit the bell so you post another video. Follow me on Twitter. Links gonna be in the description. This is your boy Just. I'm off this.